sepak takraw, badminton, lapangan bola digunakan untuk jenis kegiatan olahraga outdoor, sepak bola, karate, boxing, kriket, jogging, softball, lempar cakram, pull up, volleyball, kolam berenang bertaraf internasional, hall basket indoor dan outdoor, hall pencaksilat, fitness center, ruangan masas, labor komputer, labor anatomi, perpustakaan, musola, toilet, area parkir.
Kami patriot, kami ini patriot olahraga, mengabdi berkarya untuk nusa bangsa dalam meraih cita-cita. Kami patriot, kami ini patriot olahraga, gigi dalam berjuang di medan laga, berbakti untuk Indonesia.
Kesetiaan adalah kebanggaanku, disiplin satu-satunya nafasku.
Demi jayanya sang merah putih, kehormatan adalah segalanya. Gemetar tulang mendidih darahku, semangat berapi membakar batinku. Tuhan adalah kekuatanku, setiap ku hadapi lawanku. Patriot, kami ini patriot olahraga.
Dalam proses pembelajaran maupun meraih prestasi selalu didukung oleh dosen dalam memberikan pengarahan, baik di bidang olahraga maupun di bidang kreatif mahasiswa. Semoga etika UNP semakin maju dan melahirkan atlet yang berprestasi. Salam olahraga.
Kami patriot.
Sudah di mana?
Udah bisa dimulai, Jana? Mungkin udah bisa dimulai nih. WR3 kan sudah hadir.
Baik, Pak. Coba. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Excellencies, disguised guests, participants, ladies and gentlemen.
Yang terhormat Bapak dan Ibu serta tamu undangan, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Peace be upon you. Good morning, and we are delighted to welcome you to the opening ceremony of the 5th International Conference of Sport Science, Health, and Recreation at Faculty of Sport Science, Universitas Negeri Padang, with main theme is optimization of sport science, physical education, health, and sport tourism in supporting Indonesian sport advancement.
Selamat pagi dan selamat datang pada acara pembukaan seminar internasional di Fakultas Ilmu Keolahragaan Universitas Negeri Padang dengan tema Optimalisasi Ilmu Keolahragaan, Pendidikan Jasmani, Kesehatan, dan Pariwisata Olahraga dalam mendukung kemajuan olahraga Indonesia.
It is an honor to me to introduce and welcome the guests and speakers of our conference. Dr. Hendra Sharifuddin, MSc, PhD, the Vice Rector for Student Affairs of Universitas Negeri Padang. Dr. Ahmed Ral, MPD, the Dean of Faculty of Sport Science, Universitas Negeri Padang. Dr. Haji Zainuddin Amali, SA, MSc, Indonesian Minister of Youth and Sport Affairs. Professor Wei Dongli, PhD from Ohio State University. Professor Dr. Muhammad Anizu from University Technology Mara. Professor Dr. Gusril, MPD from Universitas Negeri Padang. And also presenters and participants of the 5th IC0SHR 2020.
Suatu kehormatan bagi kami untuk memperkenalkan dan menyambut tamu serta pembicara pada seminar hari ini, Dr. Hendra Sharifuddin, MSc, PhD, selaku Wakil Rektor Bidang Kemahasiswaan Universitas Negeri Padang, Dr. Alnedral, MPD, selaku Dekan Fakultas Ilmu Keolahragaan Universitas Negeri Padang, Dr. Haji Zainuddin Amali, SE, MSI, Menteri Pemuda dan Olahraga Republik Indonesia, Profesor Wing Dongli, PhD, dari Ohio State University, Profesor Dr. Muhammad Anizu dari University Teknologi Mara, Profesor Dr. Gusril, MPD, dari Universitas Negeri Padang, dan juga peserta dan presenter pada seminar internasional Fakultas Ilmu Keolahragaan Universitas Negeri Padang yang kelima.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, singing National Anthem of Indonesia, Indonesia Raya.
Bapak, Ibu yang terhormat, menyanyikan lagu Indonesia Raya.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to listen to the report from Chairman of the conference. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Masrul MKes.
Bapak Ibu hadirin, laporan Ketua Panitia oleh Dr. Masrul MKes. Kepada Bapak, kami silakan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. First of all, let's say thanks to the God who has been giving us guidance, happiness, healthy, and mercy, so we can attend and participate in this international seminar without any obstacle on the 5th International Conference on Sport Science, Health, and Recreation, with the topic optimization of sport science, physical education, health, and sport tourism in supporting Indonesian sport advancement. In this beautiful moment, I would like to say welcome to our distinguished guest, the Minister of Youth and Sport Affairs, Dr. Haji Jainuddin Amali, SAMSI, Rektor Universitas Negeri Padang, Profesor Ganipri, PhD, our keynote speaker, Professor Wei Dongli from Ohio State University, Professor Aniju from Faculty of Sport Science and Recreation, University Teknologi Mara, Shah Alam, Malaysia, Professor Dr. Gusril from Padang, and all of my beloved participants from across of Indonesia. The Honorable, all our keynote speaker, and all participants, let me reporting about this seminar. This international conference, which will be held for 1 day, and it will divide into several sessions, such as keynote speaker session and parallel session. This international conference, followed by 1,400 participants, and also joined by 53 presenters. It is amazing. It's very big number. I believe it caused by the importance of this conference, with discussing about sport science, health, and recreation. I hope this seminar will be giving a positive contribution to our nation, especially to optimization of sport science, physical education, health, and sport tourism. Finally, from the depths of my heart, on behalf of the committee, I apologize for the weakness of this international seminar. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and please enjoy the seminar. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Dr. Masrul. Next, I'm honored to invite the Vice Rector for Student Affairs on behalf of the Rector of Universitas Negeri Padang to deliver an officiating speech and open the 5th IC0SHR 2020. Please welcome Dr. Hendra Sharifuddin, MSc PhD.
Selanjutnya, sambutan dan pembukaan oleh Wakil Rektor Bidang Kemahasiswaan Universitas Negeri Padang. Kepada Bapak Dr. Hendra Sharifuddin, MSc PhD, kami persilakan.
Thanks, Ainur and Iqbal. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang sama-sama kita hormati Bapak Dekan Fakultas Ilmu Keolahragaan, Bapak Dr. Al-Indra, serta seluruh jajaran pimpinan Fakultas Ilmu Keolahragaan. Puji syukur kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, karena dengan rahmat dan karunia-Nya kita bisa hadir bersama pada International Conference ini. Selawat dan salam kepada junjungan kita Nabi besar Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Semoga kita selalu berada dalam ajaran-ajaran mulia yang beliau bawa. Good morning, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It's my great pleasure to welcome you to the first International Conference of Sports Science, Health and Recreation 2020 with particular theme, optimization of sports science, physical education, health and sport tourism in supporting Indonesian sport advancement. I hope we learn a lot from the keynote session delivered by the amazing keynote speakers, Dr. Haji Zainuddin Amali, SAMSI, Indonesian Minister of Youth and Sport Affairs, Wei Dong Lee, PhD from Ohio State University, Professor Dr. Muhammad Enisu from University Technology Mara, and Professor Dr. Gusriel, MPD from Universitas Negeri Padang. Our keynote speakers will deliver such important material so that all of us can deepen our knowledge about sports science, physical education, health, and sport tourism. Furthermore, I would like to thank all presenters and participants who have joined this conference. I am certain that your contribution is valuable. I am also grateful to all those who have been involved in the organization of the conference. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, since the International Conference of Sports Science, Health and Recreation is an annual event, we look forward to seeing you again in 2021 when we shall be conferred to discuss another topic time affecting the field of sports science, physical education, health, and sport tourism. Finally, I would like to officially announce the opening of the conference with saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hendra Sharifuddin, for opening this conference. To end the opening ceremony with blessings, I would like to invite Mr. Zulbahri, MPD, to do a recitation. Please welcome Mr. Zulbahri.
Pembacaan doa oleh Bapak Zulbahri, SPD MPD. Kepada Bapak kami persilakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, let us bow our head for a moment. Pray to good Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so that our international conference can be precious to all of us. I will lead this prayer based on the teaching of Islam, and those who are not Muslims, you are pleased to pray according to each of your belief. Na'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi rasulillahi ajma'in. Ya arhamar rahimin, ya arhamar rahimin, irhamna fa innaka khairur rahimin. Wa tub alaina ya Allah, innaka anta tawwabur rahim. Hamdan yuwafi ni'mahu wa yukafi'u mazidah. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhikal karimi wa azimi sultanik. Allahumma inna nas'aluka salamatan fid din wal afiyatan fil jasadina وزيادة في علمنا وبركة في رزقنا وتوبة قبل الموت ورحمة عند الموت ومغفرة بعد الموت. اللهم حوِّن علينا في صخرة الموت والنجاة من النار والعفو عند الحساب. اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. اللهم أغننا بالعلم والإيمان وزينا بالعلم والإيمان وأكرمنا بالتقوى وجملنا بالعافية برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا يك الحمد إنا مع الصابرين. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zulbahri. This is the end of our opening ceremony. It's been our pleasure to host this event. We are Khairul Jannah and Ekbal Nizal. Wish you all a pleasant day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Pak Dekan, mohon pamit Pak Dekan.
Silakan, Prof. Ya.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to join a keynote session. For the first session will be led by Mr. Endang Sepdanius, SSEMO.
Bapak Ibu yang terhormat, penyampaian materi oleh narasumber akan segera dimulai. Untuk sesi pertama akan dimoderatori oleh Bapak Endang Sepdanius SSI MOR. Kepada Bapak Endang kami silakan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Firstly, thank you for MC that give me an opportunity as a moderator of this international conference. My name is Endang Sepdanius, and I'm as a moderator for the first section today. Then, thank you very much for the participants and presenters who have participated for this conference. Today is our first webinar conference of Faculty of Sports Science related to the theme Optimization of Sports Science, Physical Education, Health, and Sport Tourism in Supporting Indonesia's Sport Advancement. Before we invite our keynote speaker to speak, first I will convey that each speaker is given 30 minutes to explain the material and it will translate into Indonesian. Then, after all the keynote speaker perform, the discussion session will be opened for 45 minutes. For the attention of participants who want to ask, please deliver your question by writing on Zoom chat box or in the live chat YouTube during the speaker deliver material. We will choose the question randomly, and the question will be told by the moderator to the speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, our first speaker is the Minister of Youth and Sport of the Republic Indonesia, namely Mr. Dr. Haji Zainuddin Amali, SAMSI. I will read a brief history of our speaker. Dr. Haji Zainuddin Amali, SAMSI, was born in Gorontalo, March 16, 1962, and he has been member of Indonesian Legislative Assembly in 3 periods. Now, let's invite State Minister for Youth and Sport Affairs of Indonesia to deliver his presentation. To Dr. Haji Zainuddin Amali, SAMSI, it's your time.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera buat kita semua. Yang saya hormati Bapak Rektor Universitas Negeri Padang, Profesor Ganefri, PhD, serta para wakil rektor, para dekan, para dosen, mahasiswa, dan seluruh sivitas akademika Universitas Negeri Padang, serta para narasumber dan peserta kegiatan yang luar biasa ini, International Conference on Sport Science, yang diselenggarakan di Universitas Negeri Padang. Saya, Zainuddin Amali, Menteri Pemuda dan Olahraga Republik Indonesia, ingin menyampaikan permohonan maaf kepada Pak Rektor. Saya tidak bisa hadir secara fisik untuk kegiatan yang hebat dan luar biasa ini. Insya Allah lain kesempatan saya akan datang ke Universitas Negeri Padang bersama-sama Pak Rektor dan seluruh sivitas akademika Universitas Negeri Padang untuk membahas dan membicarakan hal-hal yang penting khususnya tentang keolahragaan kita. International Conference on Sport Science saya kira adalah kegiatan yang sekarang ini memang harus dilakukan. Mau tidak mau, perbedaan prestasi olahraga tidak bisa lepas lagi dari pendampingan sport science. Sport science akan menjadi panduan buat para atlet, buat para pelatih, dan seluruh stakeholder keolahragaan nasional agar kita mampu meningkatkan prestasi olahraga kita. Olahraga tidak bisa lagi kita hanya kerjakan dengan by accident. Dia harus tetap dikerjakan dengan sungguh-sungguh dan by design. Nah, dengan mendesain satu prestasi olahraga, maka disitulah kebutuhan sport science. Pada peringatan HORNAS ke-37 yang lalu, kami, Kementerian Pemuda dan Olahraga Republik Indonesia, telah mendorong 3 tema besar sekaligus, yakni sport science, sport tourism, dan sport industri. Ini 3 tema besar yang akan menjadi garapan kita ke depan dan mulai pada saat ini. Oleh karena itu, tema yang diambil oleh penyelenggara tentang optimization of sport science, physical education, health, and sport tourism in supporting Indonesia sport advancement. Saya kira adalah satu hal yang sangat tepat. Tema yang sangat bagus dan untuk mendukung kemajuan Indonesia bidang olahraga harus menjadi bagian terdepan. Kemajuan olahraga suatu bangsa juga sangat dipengaruhi oleh kepedulian dari seluruh komponen bangsa itu. Tidak bisa hanya diserahkan kepada pemerintah saja, tapi keterlibatan perguruan tinggi khususnya, para pemangku kepentingan di bidang keolahragaan tentu sangat dibutuhkan. Terpaduan langkah kita, kebersamaan, dan dengan satu tujuan untuk memajukan prestasi olahraga nasional. Bapak Rektor dan hadirin sekalian, saya ingin menginformasikan bahwa sesuai dengan arahan Bapak Presiden, Bapak Joko Widodo, pada peringatan Hari Olahraga Nasional yang ke-37 pada tanggal 9 September tahun 2020 yang lalu, kami telah diberi arahan oleh beliau untuk segera mereview total ekosistem pembinaan prestasi olahraga nasional. Dan sebagai tindak lanjut dari arahan tersebut, kami dari Kementerian Pemuda dan Olahraga bergerak cepat dan telah merancang grand design olahraga nasional. Tentu ini ditujukan untuk jangka panjang, untuk kesinambungan pembinaan olahraga kita. Pembinaan harus dirancang secara sistematis, berkesinambungan, dan orientasi jangka panjang. Tidak boleh lagi kita membina prestasi setengah hati atau asal menemukan bakat, kemudian tidak ada lagi lapisan-lapisan di bawah setelah mereka menjadi purna prestasi. Sekali lagi, harapan pemerintah kepada Universitas Negeri Padang yang menyelenggarakan International Conference on Sport Science ini, semoga akan menghasilkan rekomendasi-rekomendasi yang penting dan bisa dijadikan sebagai dasar untuk pembuatan kebijakan sektor olahraga oleh pemerintah. Selamat melaksanakan International Conference ini, dan pada para peserta semua, saya berharap kita tetap menjalankan disiplin protokol kesehatan, karena sekarang masih kita berada di tengah-tengah pandemi COVID-19. Terima kasih kepada Pak Rektor, Prof. Ganip, dan Sivitas Akademika Universitas Negeri Padang, para peserta dan para narasumber. Sekian. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thanks to Dr. Haji Zainuddin Amali, MSE, State Minister for Youth and Sport Affairs of Indonesia, that has delivered the big 4-point board sport in Indonesia: physical education, sport tourism, recreation, and sport achievement. That was the presentation by State Minister for Youth and Sport Affairs of Indonesia. And now we are going to invite the next speaker, that is Professor Wang Dongli, PhD, MA State. He is a professor at the Ohio State University, College of Education and Human Ecology, Department of Sports, Department of Human Sciences, Columbus, Ohio. The educational background: the speaker got the bachelor degree at physical education from Nanjing Normal University, master at sports social science from Beijing University, master of applied statistics from Louisiana State University, and Doctor of Philosophy from Louisiana State University. He concerned to research in two main areas. The first research area examined student motivation, cognition, and learning in physical education. The second area studies obesity bias, coping, and teaching students who are overweight or obese in physical education. Professor Wang Dongli is going to deliver about roles to effective teaching in K-12 school physical education. To Professor Wang Dongli, it's your time.
Thank you very much. Let me share my screen. Can you all see the screen? Okay. Well, good morning. Let me thanks the conference's organizer and also Dr. Masron for inviting me to be a speaker. Do you want me to finish all my talks, or maybe you want to translate after each sentence?
Yes, with me your presentation, and after that we can translate your presentation in 5 minutes.
Okay. How many minutes I got for my presentation?
You get 30 minutes and translate 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. So my talk will be focused on roles to effective teaching in K-12 school physical education. I'm going to briefly talk about different ways we can become an effective teacher. There's a formula. This formula, it's based on some research evidence and also our practical experience by working with pre-service teachers and also in-service teachers. For a teacher to be effective in teaching physical education, there are 3 major factors. The first one is teachers need to have in-depth content knowledge. If you are going to teach basketball, if you are going to teach tennis, you got to know basketball, tennis really well. Later, I'm going to talk about different type of content knowledge, right? Such as techniques, tactics, and also we talk about specialized content knowledge is the knowledge that you need to teach basketball, not just performing basketball or playing basketball, right? You need to be able to identify student errors, will be able to develop teaching progressions, and will be able to present, giving instructions, demonstrations, and so on and so forth. The second major factor is caring. If you want to increase your student learning in physical education, you have to care for your students, right? There are so many different ways that you can care for your students, and later on I will give you a little more details. The last factor is critical reflections. Teachers need to become a critical you need to do critical reflections after each lesson, right? So those 3 factors will determine whether you become an effective teachers. And also I'm going to talk about your teaching philosophy, right? What you want students to achieve in physical education. This is very important because it will determine what type of curriculum models that you're going to use and what content, what evaluations, assessments, right, you're going to do in physical education. There are so many different elements, even probably in Indonesia, in China, in USA, we talk about national standards. It has different elements. For example, if you want to develop a healthy, physically active lifestyle among your students, if this is the goal that you want your student to accomplish, you have to use different type of curriculum models. Your teaching focus will be different. The content that you teach is going to be different. Same for your evaluations and assessment that you do to assess your student learning. The second one will be skill development. If you want your student to become skillful, playing basketball, playing soccer, playing tennis, that's completely different from lifestyle. And the other one is fitness and wellness. And we talk about become physically fit. And also talk about character education. If you want your student to become a teamwork, right? To be able to challenge themselves, to become, personal and a social responsible, etc. Talk about lifetime skills. All those are different goals that you can achieve in physical education. Well, which goal you're going to set up? What you want students to learn from your physical education classes? You have to put physical education in a big societal, social context. What is the current societal issues, right? That will determine pretty much what goals you want to focus on. For example, in the United States, we have a crisis, obesity crisis, right? So right now in school, we want to focus on a healthy, physically active lifestyle instead of try to increase, developing skills. We talk about basketball skills or soccer skills, right? Of course, there are some interconnections among those different goals, but you need to be specifically, very clearly understand what are those societal issues, and PE should be part of that solution to address societal issues. The next one is, it's very important for you to become, an effective teacher is a conceptual framework. This conceptual framework is whole school, whole community, and a whole child model. What that model says, well, students are at the center. Their health behaviors, their learning in school physical education is determined by what happening in schools, but what happening in the family, what happening in the community. Right? So it's a very complex model. So we'll have to look at all those different factors from school, from community, and also from family, and be able to consider those factors when we teach physical education. The next one I'm going to talk about three different factors in the teaching learning process. And my next talk will be basically focused on those three different factors. So when we talk about instructional core, it has three components. One is the teachers, right? What kind of instruction you provide to your students? What kind of strategies that you use to improve student learning? And the second one is content. What content you design, right? Whether it's interesting, whether it's challenging, whether it's practical, whether it's meaningful to your students. And the last factor, which is a mediator, whatever teachers do, right? Their behaviors, how they impact on student learning outcomes will be mediate how much students are engaged in the learning process, right? So this is the instructional core, talk about three factors. And later I'm going to give you a little more details to talk about each one. How do we increase teachers' levels of content knowledge, right? What kind of a content knowledge we need to focus on for teachers to be effective in teaching physical education? There are two different types of content knowledge. One is common content knowledge. The second one is specialized content knowledge. Common content knowledge is type of knowledge that people need to know to be able to perform. If you play basketball, you need to know the basketball rules, right? Equipment, adequate, and also techniques and also tactics. Specialized content knowledge is the type of knowledge that you need to know to be able to teach basketball, which means you need to know how to do instructions, demonstrations. You need to be able to identify what errors students make when they perform basketball techniques or skills. How do you correct those errors? And also the biomechanical principles behind, right? Why it happens, how those errors impact their performance. And also talk about teaching progressions. How do you sequence the content from easy to difficult so student can learn, can be successful, right? So those are very important knowledge that teachers need to know to be able to teach basketball. So we need to increase their levels of content knowledge so there can be effectiveness. And this is the kind of categories of CCK and also SCK I already talked about. And we have research indicate increasing teachers' specialized content knowledge will produce better learning from students. And the next one I'm going to talk about is curriculum models. To be effective, teachers need to utilize a curriculum model to systematically teach physical education. Just a couple of minutes ago, I talked about different goals that you want your student to accomplish in physical education. So if you want to focus on improve students' physical fitness, this is the curriculum you need to use, Fitness for Life curriculum, right? It has all the contents, all the lesson plans that teachers need to know to be able to teach fitness, this curriculum from elementary to high school. If you want to focus on health, physically active lifestyle, you can use Spark curriculum. This curriculum focuses on moderate to vigorous physical activity levels, focus on management skills, right? Talk about knowledge that you need to be physically active. Then we have a curriculum model talk about sport culture, sport education. If you want your student to become a consumer of sport culture, you can use sport education model. Of course, sport education also focuses on developing character among your student, teamwork, sports personship, etc. And then you can use adventure education, personal social responsibility model, cooperative learning model to develop personal social responsibility and also relationships among your students, right? They can challenge themselves, they can show responsibility, teamwork, right? Working with other people, etc. And the last one is talk about game competence. As we all know, sports and games are an important part of contents in K through 12 physical education, right? We need to use different models to develop students' game competence, such as teaching games for understanding, play practice, situated game teaching through set plays. The last model actually was developed by me and also my graduate students, right? And we also have some research evidence showing it's pretty effective in terms of developing student game performance, their tactical knowledge. And the next factor, it will be talk about student roles in your class. We have to change their roles in the instructional process. Make sure we empower students with choices. Make sure students take ownership of learning. And make sure teachers, not just a provider of information, they should serve as facilitators and guiders, right? Help students to find solutions, help students to, working together to be able to take ownership of the knowledge, the learning, and also will be able to learn, explore, and also find solutions. What content to teach? Also, it's very important. There are so many contents that you can select, but you need to think about your community, your students, what culture. You have to make sure your content is culturally relevant. You have to make sure students are interested what you offer to them in physical education. If they are not interested, they will not learn, they will not be engaged. You have to make sure also personalized. Individual students have different skill levels, have different learning rate. We have to consider those factors when we design content. Also, we have to make sure student-centered, not teacher-centered, which means we have to make sure empower students with choices and opportunities to take leadership, also be engaged in learning. And our content, what we offer in physical education, also need to address student needs with choices. Right now, we talk about pandemic, COVID-19. Everybody is stressed out. So we need to offer those mindfulness, meditation, stress reduction, right? Those exercises to help students to deal with stress, anxiety. And also we need to look at what is popular in society, right? In the United States right now, we talk about Zumba. It's very popular, right? Many people take those Zumba classes. So we have to make sure we offer in PE classes so that students can learn those exercises. And the other factor is talk about task progressions. In your teaching, in your lessons, you have to make sure you have more refinements, more extensions in a lesson. Right? Those are the definitions and also some examples. What is informing task? What is refinement? What is extension? And also what is an application? So I'm going to use the next diagram to give a little details. So when you start a lesson, the first task you give to your student is informing task. That's task 1. Right? After you give task 1, you're going to do a lot of refinements. You do a lot of modifications, adaptations to make sure a student can be successful, can be skillful at a task 1. After students successfully master task 1, you could move on to task 2. You make it more difficult. That's what we call extension, right? Make it more difficult. So, and when students successful at task 2, you make it a more difficult, move student to next task 3. And then at the end of the lessons, you're going to have application. So provide opportunity for students to play games. The purpose of playing games is for students to apply task 1, task 2, task 3, 4 into the game. We talk about task 5. So to produce student learning, your lessons, your typical lessons should have a lot of refinement and also a lot of extensions. That's also have strong research evidence to support the effectiveness. And the other one is we talk about using technology. There are so many technologies available, pedometers. This technology will, the pedometer is a tool that can encourage students, motivate your student to take more steps. Also, you can use pedometers to get a sense how active student in your class. And also you can use those steps, right, to set goals, to teach student how to set goals, and also doing math, etc. All those you can do, collaboration with math teachers, reading, and science teachers. And also there are so many apps available. Talk about teaching lifetime skills to log nutrition, physical activities, calories, right? And also student can use technology to develop iMovie, right, for learning, and also disseminate the information that you provide to them in physical education, what they do in physical education, what they do in school, what they learn in physical education, so they can disseminate those information to their family members, their sisters, and also to other people. And I'm trying to look at my time, I think. And the next one, we talk about being, become a caring teacher. There are 3 different ways you can become a caring teacher. One is you got to provide feedback to your students, right? So when you in your lessons, we talk about you doing instructions, providing feedback. It could be just you're doing a good job, right? And then you have to build personal rapport with your students. If today some student's birthday, you might play a happy birthday song in class. If a student coming to class are very sad, you might to ask, what is going on, right, in their lives. Try to help them to feel better, etc. Right? And the other one is you have to make sure you design motivational, positive learning climates. Everybody feel be part of a family. Here we call Buckeye family, right? So be a member of learning community, because this will connect students, bond students together, and they will be more willing to work with you and also be willing to learning in physical education. And the last one, it will be reflections. As a teacher, if you want to be effective, right, you have to constantly do reflections. Those are the questions that you need to ask yourself after you finish each lesson. What did I learn about my student today? How will this impact my teaching tomorrow or maybe next lesson? What did I learn about my planning today? What did I learn about classroom management today? What did I learn about instruction? What did I learn about teaching the content today? Right? So after those questions, then you need to summarize what success, right, in my teaching, why they are successful, and then what areas need improvement and why need improvement. And the last question will be, well, after those reflections, what are those 1 or 2 major goals that I want to achieve for next lesson, right? So to, come back to the first slide is we talk about if you want to become an effective teacher, right? You need to have in-depth content knowledge. You have to make sure you care for students. And the last one is reflections. That's what we talk about. You need to critically reflect your teaching every lesson. In this way, you can become an effective teacher. I think I'm going to stop here. I might use a lot of time. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Professor Wadong Lee. Very interesting material. There are 3 major factors of physical education: knowledge, critical reflection, and reflective to be effective teachers. The presentation is going to translate into Indonesia by Khairul Jannah. Please, Khairul Jannah, it's your time.
Terima kasih Bapak Endang. Bapak Ibu yang berbahagia, pada kesempatan ini Profesor Widong Lee menjelaskan arah atau cara pengajaran penjas yang efektif kepada siswa pada tingkat menengah, kira-kira SMP atau SMA. Nah, di sini Prof. Widong Lee mengatakan jika ingin menjadi guru yang efektif, ada formula khusus yang harus kita lakukan. Nah, formula ini didapatkan dari penelitian yang panjang dan juga pengalaman guru selama mengajar. Formulanya yaitu pertama adalah guru-guru harus mempunyai pengetahuan yang mendalam tentang apa yang akan diajarkan kepada siswanya. Yang kedua, guru harus peduli terhadap siswa. Yang ketiga, guru harus melakukan critical reflection, yaitu merefleksikan apa yang telah diajarkan kepada siswa, merefleksikan apa metode mengajar yang dilakukan. Nah, itulah yang menjadikan Bapak Ibu nantinya guru yang efektif. Nah, di sini juga Prof. Wedongli bercerita tentang filosofi. Filosofi ini yang akan menentukan metode dan asesmen apa yang akan Bapak Ibu berikan kepada siswa Bapak Ibu. Contohnya, jika Bapak Ibu tujuannya adalah untuk kesehatan, maka kurikulum, metode, dan asesmen yang diberikan akan berbeda dengan tujuan jika Bapak Ibu bertujuan membuat siswa Bapak Ibu menjadi fitness, itu akan berbeda. Nah, tujuan Bapak Ibu ini juga harus dikaitkan dengan isu yang sedang hangat, isu yang terjadi di society pada saat ini. Di situ akan terlihat jelas bagaimana penjas ini menyelesaikan isu-isu tersebut yang ada di masyarakat saat sekarang ini. Nah, di sini juga perlu ditegaskan bahwa siswa merupakan pusat utama dari pembelajaran. Nah, di sini juga Prof. Wedongli bercerita bagaimana meningkatkan level of content knowledge seorang guru, bagaimana meningkatkan pengetahuan guru. Nah, pengetahuan itu bisa dibagi dua. Yang pertama itu pengetahuan umum, yang kedua pengetahuan khusus. Kalau pengetahuan umum itu pengetahuan yang membutuhkan bagaimana untuk perform itu melakukan saja, bagaimana pengetahuan yang dibutuhkan muara akhirnya itu melakukan, bisa untuk melakukan. Sedangkan pengetahuan khusus itu bagaimana muara akhirnya bisa diajarkan. Kalau umum itu untuk dilakukan, kalau yang khusus itu untuk diajarkan kembali. Nah, kenapa guru-guru penting meningkatkan pengetahuan khusus ini? Kalau pengetahuan khusus bagi seorang guru meningkat, maka siswanya juga akan mendapatkan pengalaman belajar yang lebih baik. Nah, untuk menjadi guru yang efektif, Bapak Ibu juga harus menggunakan kurikulum model yang berbeda, seperti yang sudah Prof. Wedongli sampaikan sebelumnya. Tujuan yang berbeda akan membuat Bapak Ibu mengaplikasikan metode dan asesmen yang berbeda untuk setiap tujuan tersebut. Di sini juga Bapak Ibu perlu merubah peran siswa dalam instructional process. Caranya yaitu memberikan siswa dengan pilihan-pilihan, siswa mempunyai otoritas dalam belajar, dan juga guru bukan lagi sebagai model utama, tapi guru merupakan fasilitator dan juga guiders, bukan lagi model utama. Nah, konten apa yang harus Bapak Ibu ajarkan kepada siswa? Yaitu pertama, konten yang relevan dengan kebudayaan kita. Yang kedua juga konten yang menstimulasi keinginan siswa untuk belajar. Lalu konten yang berpusat kepada siswa itu sendiri. Dan juga konten yang sedang terkenal, sedang populer di kalangan di society kita saat ini. Contohnya Prof. Wedongli sampaikan tadi, kalau di Amerika yang sangat terkenal saat ini adalah Zumba. Maka Zumba itu dimasukkan ke dalam pembelajaran di mata pelajaran penjas. Nah, untuk di sini juga Prof. Wedongli mengatakan perbaikan dan juga extension itu penting dalam pembelajaran. Tadi ada bagian tentang task 1, task 2, and task 3. Itu maksudnya, pertama, Bapak Ibu menginformasikan tugas itu disebut sebagai task 1. Bapak Ibu berikan tugas, lalu dikerjakan oleh siswa tersebut. Lalu Bapak Ibu lakukan perbaikan, itu refining. Setelah siswa memahami atau master dalam task 1, Bapak Ibu bisa memberikan task 2 yang lebih sulit dari task 1. Lalu Bapak Ibu berikan lagi setelah siswa tersebut mampu mengerjakan task 2, berikan lagi task 3 yang lebih sulit lagi tugasnya. Jadi di akhir nanti itu apply, di akhir nanti siswa itu dapat mengaplikasikan task 1, task 2, dan task 3 yang telah Bapak Ibu berikan dalam sebuah permainan atau pertandingan. Nah, Bapak Ibu juga bisa menggunakan teknologi dalam memberikan instruksi kepada siswa, karena banyak sekali teknologi yang berkembang saat ini. Contohnya itu adalah pedometers. Di situ Bapak Ibu bisa memotivasi siswa untuk lebih aktif. Ada juga aplikasi untuk mencatat kegiatan fisikal ataupun nutrisi yang diambil. Lalu kita berbicara tentang bagaimana cara menjadi guru yang peduli. Yang peduli pertama memberikan instructional feedback, memberi umpan balik yang instructional. Lalu memberikan memberikan pujian terhadap siswa atau peduli dengan apa yang terjadi pada siswa tersebut. Peduli terhadap keluarga siswa tersebut, lalu memberikan motivasi dan positif learning climate, ini lingkungan belajar yang positif. Dan terakhir, bagaimana menjadi guru yang reflektif. Jadi Bapak Ibu setelah mengajar perlu merefleksikan apa yang diajar dengan beberapa pertanyaan. Contohnya, apa yang sudah saya ajarkan kepada siswa saya pada hari ini? Bagaimana impact dari pengajaran saya ini kepada siswa ke depannya? Apa yang saya pelajari tentang perencanaan pada hari ini? Apa yang saya ajarkan mengenai kelas manajemen hari ini? Apa yang saya pelajari tentang instruction pada hari ini? Apa yang saya pelajari tentang teaching the content pada hari ini? Seberapa sukses saya mencapai pengajaran saya? Kenapa? Area apa yang perlu saya tingkatkan dalam mengajar? Lalu kenapa saya harus meningkatkannya? Dan apa tujuan utama saya untuk yang akan saya lakukan? Apa tujuan utama saya yang akan saya lakukan pada mata pelajaran berikutnya? Ya, itu saja yang bisa saya sampaikan. Kira-kira ini adalah inti sari dari keynote speech-nya Profesor Wei Dongli, itu bagaimana menjadi guru yang efektif dengan formula yang telah disampaikan tadi. Sekian, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Ms. Anna. That is translation into Indonesia. I think we have many questions in the chat, but this question will answer at the session discussion. Okay, that was the presentation by Professor Wang Dongli, PhD, MF stage. Thank you, and back to MC.
Thank you very much, Professor Wei Dongli, PhD, for your presentation and keynote speech. Now we come we come to second session of keynote speech that will be led by Jeki Haryanto.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Firstly, thank you for MC that's give me an opportunity as a moderator of this international conference. My name is Jeki Haryanto and I am as a moderator today. Thank you very much for the participation and presenter who have participated for this conference. We still have 2 keynote speakers left. The next speaker is Professor Dr. Muhammad Anizu from Faculty of Sports Science and Recreation, University Teknologi Mara, Shah Alam, Malaysia. For his educational background information, the speaker got the PhD in the sports science in School of Medical Science at University Science Malaysia. He got his master at physical education from Ohio State University, USA, and the bachelor degree from University Malaya, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And now, the speaker is Dean of Faculty of Sports Science and Recreation, University Teknologi Mara, Selangor, Malaysia. Now, let's invite Professor Dr. Muhammad Anizu from Malaysia to deliver his presentation. Professor Dr. Muhammad Anizu, time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Very good morning to Bapak Dekan, Dr. Lendra, all organizing committee, all keynote speakers, ladies and gentlemen, and all participants and ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let me share my slide. Okay, before I begin, I would like to thanks organizing committee for inviting me to join this conference. So the topic is given to me is health and sport tourism, economic and social impact of active tourism, and the effect of COVID-19 to the health and care tourism. So thank you very much for giving me this great opportunity to join the 5th International Conference on Sports Science, Health and Recreation. And then today, my great pleasure to be here to share my little knowledge and experience on health and tourism, economic and social impact of active tourism to the COVID-19 to the healthcare tourism. So, okay, before I begin, I would like to show just brief slide about University Teknologi Mara. The interesting one is we are the biggest universities in Malaysia, whether public or private university. We are the biggest because now we have 14 branch campuses plus 21 satellite campuses. So that means altogether we have 35 campuses all over the Malaysia. Okay. Okay, so table of content of my presentation will be the introduction, economic and social impact of active tourism, COVID-19 and healthcare tourism, conclusion, references, and acknowledgement. Okay, for the introduction, people worldwide are increasingly concerned about health and wellness. Recent improvement in life quality and life expectancy have led people to seek self-realization in several contexts, such as personal, social, and leisure. So in this context, it is more than ever essential to be in a good state of health, to which physical and sports play a central role. Okay, so the Olympics are arguably the oldest sport tourism event on record. Viewers came from every corner of the Greek world, as well as nations from afar away as modern-day Spain and Turkey to view athletic contests. Actually, major sport events such as the Olympic Games, actually football and rugby championship, for example, become a powerful tourism attraction in themselves, making a very positive contribution to the tourism image of the host destination. So globally, sport tourism is recognized as one of the upcoming tourism markets with significant economic potentials. So for this reason, actually, they have become social goods. Sport have long been employed as instruments for improving general quality of life. So in Malaysia, it is an important income generator in the tourism industry, contributing approximately 5 billion annually, and is supported by a broad global audience, as sporting events usually attract domestic and international participants. So among the revenue generated in any international sport event, ranges from accommodation, of course, that means we can have our hotel and all type of accommodation in the business, also food and beverages, and of course ticket and get saved for that particular international tournament, sponsorship, of course, all sponsorship will come to sponsor all the international sport events. Also media rights, merchandising, government productions. So according to Amadalawati 2017, through the tourism sector, Indonesia can strengthen the independence of the nation and improve the competitiveness, especially in the economy of Indonesian society. So in Indonesia, the tourism sector is a major contributor to gross domestic product, GDP, and foreign exchange. It was realized that Ministry of Tourism, Kemenpar, we intend to maximize the potential of Indonesia's tourism. Okay, according to Deputy of Institutional Development of Tourism, Kemenpar, Ahmad Shah, tourism is also able to create jobs easily. The contribution of tourism foreign exchange to national foreign exchange earnings in 2015 reached US dollar 12.6 billion or 9.3% of the Indonesian income. The number is ranked fourth after the oil and gas, coal and palm oil sector. So according to Mandalawati. So in the law of the Republic of Indonesia, number 3 of 2005 on the national sports system, it is also mentioned that sports recreation is a sport conducted by the community with a passion and ability to grow and develop in accordance with the conditions and cultural values of local communities for health, fitness, and pleasure. In this case, sports and tourism have the same goals. If the sports aims to provide pleasure to the tourism, is an activity that is done to get pleasure. So the second topic is economic and social impact of active tourism. It is widely acknowledged that sports and physical activities are important, both for people's medical health and subjective well-being. Leisure, sports, and tourism activities can be intimate connected. Active tourism emerged from this link. The concept encompasses all kinds of outdoor tourism activities that imply the practice of some physical effort. The fans and supporters from all the countries participating in any sport tournaments and competitions will come to watch and support their teams while getting medical services in the host countries. That's mean that we can say that sport tourism is very important in terms of health services, because all the spectators and fans, when they come to any country to support their team participating in any international tournament, they will take this great opportunity to get a good medical service in the host countries. So Indonesia, for example, need the cooperation and support of the government to host an international sport tournament. And I think I'm sure that now Indonesian government, as I gave a very good support to the Ministry of Sport and Youth, for example, to organize so many international sport tournaments in Indonesia. So sport tourism can be categorized into hard sports and soft sports. Hard sports tourism attracts huge global participants, and people tend to travel together to a host country to attend these events. Besides that, they will take this opportunity to get a better service in medical and help at any government or private hospitals. So these are usually competitive international sports, such as Formula One, Grand Prix, and SEA Games in Malaysia, for example, for the in terms of Malaysia. Meanwhile, sport tourism refers to recreational sport activities or getaways such as golfing, water rafting, and scuba diving. So in 1998, for example, in Malaysia, the Commonwealth Games, known as the second largest sport event in the world after the Olympic Games, was held in Kuala Lumpur. This international sport event was an excellent example of hard sports tourism in Malaysia that created multifold values to the economy, according to Malaysian Investment Development Authority, Insight 2020. So the event attracted 6,670 athletes and officials, along with a substantial number of media and visitors locally and abroad. It was reported that a single international tourist who came for the Commonwealth Games spent an average of 3,800 Malaysian ringgit for the duration of 12.5 nights stay. Yeah. So this prestige event actually catalyzed and created economic opportunities for various businesses in Malaysia and also in other countries for the in hosting this international tournament, because including like medical centers, hoteliers, restaurants, for example, boat makers, maintenance facilities, food suppliers, craft and textile merchandisers. So following the successful international event, Malaysia kept up the momentum in 1999 by hosting the Formula One Championship car racing, F1 Grand Prix in Sepang, Kuala Lumpur. The F1 Grand Prix stimulated the expansions and recognition of the nation's sport management capabilities. The premier event contributed more than 500 million of the national economy, and the spillovers continued to soar in years after. The Formula One Grand Prix went on for another great 19 years. It attracted global die-hard fans who were fascinated with Malaysia, and many kept returning for their fun field recognition. In 2000, the Langkawi Ironman Triathlon pool in sport enthusiasts to test their fitness level in physical and mental strength. The long distance involves sport activities such as swimming, cycling, and marathon. So at this particular tournament, about 300 athletes from around the world took part in this triathlon race. Malaysia continued to host other international events, including the MotoGP Racing Series since 1991, Monsoon Cup Racing Match 2005-2015, Badminton World Federation Tour since 1992, Tour de Langkawi since 1996, Royal Langkawi International Regatta since 2003, and Southeast Asia SEA Games. So all these tournaments, of course, will attract international supporters to come, and at the same time, they will use our good medical facilities like hospital and so on. So recognizing the investment potential of sports tourism, particularly football, Malaysia hosted the World Football Summit Asia, WFSA, in Kuala Lumpur on 29th and 30th after April last year, 2019. So this event is first ever organized in Asia. It attracted more than 2,000 professional and influential experts in football clubs from over 50 countries all over the world. It contributes to opening new opportunities in Asia's football and sport tourism sector. Going forward, international sport event of 2019 in Malaysia, including 17th Royal Langkawi International Regatta, Sarawak Borneo Cross Country Rally, Litwa de Langkawi Cycle Race, International Hot Air Balloon Fiesta, UNICEF Borneo Marathon, Mount Kinabalu International Climb Baton, Football Emerald Cup, Penang Bridge International Marathon, MotoGP Racing, and Fit Touch World Cup. So, for example, with so many exciting events lined up for 2019, for example, increased tourist arrival are expected in the second quarter of the year, whereby the economy stands to gain over 40 billion in the revenue through accommodation, logistics, and tourist spending. International sport events undeniably bring many positive impact to the host country. But unfortunately, starting this year, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, all over the countries in the world cannot manage to organize a good international sport tournament. With government funding most of the investment of sport facilities in Malaysia, there is a need to attract the private sector to invest and operate world-class sport facilities to bring in new sources of business opportunity and further boost sport tourism. So, and the last one is COVID-19 and healthcare tourism. And despite being a key component in COVID-19 pandemic, the healthcare tourism sector, also known as the medical tourism industry, is one such sector badly affected by the pandemic. This involved difficulties in obtaining appointments, inflation in healthcare rates, easy to travel growth, demand for the new technology-supported therapies, and the increase of the aging population of the world. So the pandemic is, giving us a very bad, effects all over the world. So Indonesia, for example, setting the report from Healthcare Chronicles 2009-2019, stated that 10-year journey of the Malaysian healthcare travel industry has robust growth of generated revenues of 1.5 billion from over 1.2 billion medical tourist arrival. And then the issue now, how the COVID-19 pandemic affected this industry. Thus, the Malaysia Healthcare Travel Council reports that due to the pandemic, there has been a 75% decline in medical and healthcare tourism in Malaysia. In addition, that rely on tourism, sports, transport, hospitality, and entertainment for their growth and economic well-being, there are particularly significant disruptions. Furthermore, many countries have entered this crisis in a vulnerable state of weak growth and a high level of debt. For the first time since both the industrialized and emerging economies and developing economies are in recession. Development in advanced economies is estimated at 6.1% for this year. So it is also estimated that emerging markets and developed economies with normal growth levels well above advanced economies will have negative growth rate of 1.0% in 2020 and 2.2% and 2.2% income per capita in more than 170 countries is expected to decrease. The COVID-19 pandemic is affecting both advanced economies and emerging markets, and the developed economies will partly recover in 2021, we hope, hopefully. Significant global social instability has been triggered by the pandemic. Healthcare travel, one of the fastest growing sectors, also widely known as medical tourism, is an integral part of many emerging or developed economies. Many patients move from their homeland overseas to get healthcare services in their country that may or may not be available. These people collectively drive revenue. For the travel and medical industry, as their primary goal is to produce good outcomes at reasonable rates, which they could previously produce. A multi-billion-dollar industry worldwide, medical tourism is projected to expand dramatically in the next decade. For any person interested in healthcare, is the countries, as most Western nations, including the United States or the United Kingdom, have very high medical service costs. Individuals tend to fly to various other parts of the world to get better health assistance at lower rate, like India, Singapore, Malaysia, New Zealand, Hong Kong, and I think Indonesia also one of the countries, are the most popular countries. So international sport tourism in healthcare, like every other sector, the pandemic will also impact. With the possibility that international travel will remain limited for a period of time, longer period of time, the medical tourism industry will face a direct hit. Hospitals perform only emergency surgical operations or only elective procedures for life-threatening health problems for which no other medical options are available. Healthcare tourism research from COVID-19 will clearly explore and advance our knowledge and technical capabilities to collect, evaluate, and use big data to better understand, predict, monitor, and alter human behavior. That means there is tourist and employee behavior as a means of generating revenue and market control. Thus, COVID-19 has further enhanced the role of technologies in the recovery and reimagination of tourism. So COVID-19 has boosted tourism social ventures aiming to create social values, solve social problems created by the COVID-19, and provide help people in the marketplaces, enabling the repurposing of various tourism unutilized resources such as labor, hotel, function space, food, cleaning material, example, hospitality health organization. The mushrooming of COVID-19 related tourism social ventures provides many opportunities to study and better understand this phenomenon within new and various ecosystems, stakeholders, and circumstances. So as a conclusion, I can say that sport tourism will give many advantages to the host country in various aspects, including the field of health. In addition to coming to sport and watch certain sport tourism, they are also able to travel and get the best health services in the host country of the particular sport tournament. So this is my bibliography. Bibliography and also an acknowledgement to the Faculty of Sports Science, Fakultas Ilmu Keolahragaan Universiti Negeri Padang, Indonesia, for inviting me, for giving me this opportunity to share my little knowledge, and also to my colleague, Associate Professor Dr. Reziana Kasim, Head of Program of Sport Management, Faculty of Sports Science and Recreation, University of Madinah, for helping me to prepare this presentation. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the great presentation. That was the presentation by Professor Dr. Muhammad Anizu. And please to Ms. Kainur Jannah to translate into Indonesia.
Terima kasih Pak Juki. Pada kesempatan ini, Profesor Anizu menjelaskan tentang dampak ekonomi dan sosial pariwisata dan juga bagaimana efek pandemi COVID-19 pada pariwisata, kesehatan, dan juga olahraga. Kesehatan merupakan fokus utama pada saat ini, dan aktivitas fisik dan olahraga merupakan memainkan peranan yang penting dalam hal ini. Jadi salah satu contohnya adalah Olimpiade yang merupakan pariwisata olahraga tertua. Penonton datang dari berbagai negara, berbagai daerah, melakukan perjalanan panjang, dan itu tidak merupakan suatu masalah pada saat itu. Dan di sini juga sport tourism itu mempunyai berpotensi penting dalam bidang ekonomi. Ya, di Malaysia sendiri sport tourism merupakan income generator penting dalam hal ekonomi. Dikarenakan pada saat melakukan sport tourism itu akan dapat income generator dari akomodasi, dari makanan, dari penjualan tiket, dari sponsor, dari media, dari merchandise, dan juga dari produksi kain garment. Di Indonesia juga seperti itu. Pariwisata merupakan income generator yang sangat penting untuk ekonomi di Indonesia. Prof. Anizu juga menjelaskan bahwa di Indonesia kita butuh support dari pemerintah untuk mengadakan sport event di Indonesia ini. Prof. Anizu menjelaskan berbagai macam sport event yang telah diadakan di Malaysia dan bagaimana dampak sport event itu terhadap ekonomi di Malaysia. Nah, dengan banyaknya sport event yang diadakan di Malaysia itu meningkatkan kedatangan turis ke Malaysia dan meningkatkan income generator bagi Malaysia dan mempunyai dampak yang positif bagi Malaysia sendiri. Lalu kita ke topik berikutnya, yaitu bagaimana pandemi COVID-19 ini berdampak pada healthcare tourism. Pariwisata merupakan sektor yang paling terdampak oleh pandemi COVID-19 ini. Selain pada bidang olahraga, juga pada bidang kesehatan. Dikarenakan perjalanan internasional sekarang ini tidak direkomendasikan dan sangat terbatas. Jadi medical tourism industry sudah pasti berdampak paling buruk karena di masa pandemi 19 ini, karena seperti yang kita ketahui, Malaysia bukan hanya terkenal dengan sport tourismnya, tapi juga healthcare tourismnya. Pengunjung dari berbagai negara banyak datang ke Malaysia untuk sport tourism dan juga untuk healthcare tourism. Tapi karena pandemik COVID-19 sudah pasti sangat terbatas pengunjung yang datang ke Malaysia itu sendiri. Dan menurut Prof. Anizu, teknologi merupakan salah satu solusi untuk menangani COVID-19 ini dan untuk kembali membuka tourism dan ekonomi di berbagai negara. Karena kita bisa memanfaatkan teknologi, jadi tidak harus datang langsung, tapi kita bisa tetap menikmati sport tourism dan healthcare yang ada di negara-negara berkembang. Nah, di sini juga Prof. Anizu bisa merekomendasikan penelitian lebih lanjut untuk berfokus kepada employability dan impact, destination impact, social entrepreneur of healthcare industry bagi penelitian lebih lanjut. Diharapkan hasil penelitian ini dapat berkontribusi pada bidang health tourism yang ada di semua negara. Sekian inti dari keynote speech Profesor Dr. Muhammad Anizu.
Thank you, Ms. Anna, for the nice translation. The last speaker comes from Universitas Negeri Padang, that is Professor Dr. Gusril, MPD. First, I will read his educational background. Professor Dr. Gusril, MPD, completed his bachelor degree in sport education at Universitas Negeri Padang. Then he completed Master of Sport Education at Jakarta State University, and he completed his doctorate at Jakarta State University in 2004. He has also been postgraduate director assistant at Universitas Negeri Padang from 2007 until 2013. He has a research focus in the field of motor learning. Now, let's invite Professor Dr. Gusril, MPD, to deliver his presentation. Professor Dr. Gusril, MPD, time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before I present my paper in front of you, I have two pantuns. Dari Padang ke kota Aceh, singgah sebentar ke Pariaman. Selamat datang di Universitas International Conference. Bersama-sama kita sukseskan. Membeli benang di pasar raya, benang pembuat baju kebaya. Selamat datang peserta konferensi olahraga di ranah Minang kota tercinta melalui virtual. Praise and thank to presence of Allah Almighty for abundance of mercies and blessing. Prayers and greeting may remain expressed to our great prophets, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Honorable Rector of Universitas Negeri Padang and Vice Rectors, Chairperson of Bureau in Universitas Negeri Padang, Faculty Dean in Universitas Negeri Padang and the Vice Deans, the heads of department in Universitas Negeri Padang. Keynote speaker Dr. Zainuddin Amali, Ministry of Youth and Sport Affairs, Republik Indonesia. Professor Wadongli, PhD, from Ohio State University. Professor Dr. Muhammad Anizu, Dekan Fakulti Sains Sukan and Rekreasi, Universitas Teknologi Mara from Malaysia. And me, Professor Dr. Gusril from Sport Science Faculty, Universitas Negeri Padang. Ladies and gentlemen, today I would like to present my paper in front of you about physical education, sport and health, and its evaluation in primary school of the COVID-19 pandemic era. PJOK is an explanation of the National Education System, Law Article 37 of Acts as written that material for the study of PJOK is intended to set the characteristic of students so that they are physically, mentally healthy and foster sense of sportsmanship. PJOK is emphasized for physical growth, psychological development, motor skill, knowledge and reasoning, appreciation of values, mental, emotional, sportsmanship, spiritual, and social attitudes, as well as habituation of healthy lifestyle, which lead to stimulating balanced physical and psychological growth and development. The objective of PJOK are follows: A, to develop skill and self-management. PJOK material is based on grade competence standard. Reviewing as the competence standard and basic competence of subject start in content standard by taking into account, number one, the order based on the hierarchical concept of discipline or level of material difficulty, not necessarily in accordance with order in content standard. Second, the relationship between competence standard and basic competence in subject. Third, the relationship between competence standard and basic competence subject. Ideally, PJOK learning run according to the syllabus, the lesson plan, and have been made by the physical educators by utilizing learning facilities and infrastructure, appropriate learning methods, and media, as well as scientific learning approach. Of course, this makes it easier for the teacher to achieve learning goal, and students can learn well and goals are achieved. If the learning objective have been achieved, it can certainly improve student learning achievement. The learning condition for PJOK in era of the COVID-19 pandemic didn't run expected because they were limited by the governor Mayor circular regulation regarding large-scale social restriction coupled with the atmosphere. The people of Padang City who were exposed to COVID-19 reached more than 306 people who were classified as red areas. The major circular doesn't allow face-to-face offline meeting between physical education and students. In this policy, teachers are required to be school and students at home. Of course, this makes it difficult for physical education educators to deliver learning material with remote atmosphere. The school program continue and provide assignment to students in the school via virtual. The impact where students have difficulty in carrying out learning at home because parents don't usually carry out educational tasks that have shifted to parents. Many problems arise when this task is shifted to parents, such as parents are angry with their children when they are impatient with their children's behavior. Difficulty understanding learning material. Parents don't understand school achievement given by teacher. Life difficulty experienced by parents. The difficulty of the physical educators is that they cannot carry out tasks according to the syllabus and lesson plan that have been made because they cannot meet to face with the student offline. Only motion assessment are given to students. Of course, this is very difficult for participants to develop their basic movement. On the other hand, physical educators have difficulty assessing the progress of learning carried out by students who are at home. For this reason, it's necessary to find the best solution PJOK hence in the education curriculum method in Padang City. The nature of learning PJOK. In PP number 19 concerning National Education Standard in 2005 and Parliament 222 of 2006 states that PJOK is integral part overall of education aim and developing aspect of physical fitness, movement skill, critical thinking skill, social skill, reasoning, emotional stability, moral action, healthy life skill, and the connection clean environment through selected physical, sport, and health activities that are systematically planned in order to achieve the goal of national education. Penjas Orkes is an educational process that utilizes physical activities that are planned systematically. Mutohir 2000 emphasized physical education must be processed to achieve success in developing children as whole in a whole. Furthermore, the objective of physical education subject in elementary school are follows. Number one, developing self-management skill in effort to develop and maintain physical fitness, lifestyles through selected physical active and sport. Second, promote better physical growth and psychological development. Three, improve basic movement skill and abilities. Four, laying a strong moral character foundation through internationalization of the values contained in physical education, sport, and health. Five, develop sportsmanship, honesty, discipline, responsibility, cooperation, confidence, and democracy. Six, develop skill to maintain the safety of themselves, others, and the environment. Seven, understand and the concept of physical activities and exercises in clean environment as information to achieve perfect physical growth, healthy lifestyle, and fitness skill, and have effective attitude. To achieve the objective of physical education, learning material from grade 1 until 6 are complete with semester system consisting of game and sport, development activities, gymnastic activities, rhythmic activities, aquatic, outdoor education, and health. In the implementation of physical education learning, physical education must pay attention to the teaching pattern in the following stage. A, introduce the material to be studied and warm up. Introduction. The objective to prepare student physical and psychological condition to face core exercise both in respiration and circulation, as well as body temperature. B, skill development, which consists of introducing learned skill, developing skill which includes learning basic skill, correcting movement if something goes wrong. Culmination activities with content, game, and competition. C, cooling down, which content relaxing activities and cooperation. The function of physical education center for primary school are follows in organic aspect, among other, making the body system function so that individual can meet the demand of the environment adequately and have foundation for skill development. B, neuromuscular aspect, among other, increasing the harmony of nerves and muscle function. C, perceptual aspect, among other, developing the ability to receive and distinguish cues. D, cognitive aspect, among other, developing the ability to find something, understanding, acquire knowledge, and make decision. E, social aspect, among other, adjusting to other people and the environmental with their emotional aspect, among other, developing a positive response to physical activities. This is B, problem solving solution for learning PJOK and COVID-19 pandemic era of primary school. Number one, utilization of the form of student daily physical activities. To deal with learning PJOK, the minimum that student can do through assignment, PJOK, teachers through physical activities assessment sheet is made by Padang City Education Office, Padang City Education Office Circular number 421-1, Dignas 1/2020, dates 3 April 20 regarding learning in home learning. Hereby convey the following dates. Number one, the elementary and junior high school students are asked to carry out activities or sport activities every morning before starting distant learning activities from home. Whereas to ensure the implementation of the morning sport activities, the activities carried out by elementary and junior high school students every morning. It is necessary to monitor by the school. 3, whereas the report of the activities, sport activities carried out by the student is given to the physical educators and the respective school and carried out weekly according to the format attached to this letter. For this purpose, all teachers of PJUK elementary and junior high school students are asked to collect this report as school receive and report to the education office of the Padang City. 5, the principal is asked to submit report and sport activities carried out by the student to the Padang City Education Office through the heads of basic education sectors. This is example, student name, this is form here, form of activities or physical. Look like student name Aisyah Humaira Zamratul Fuad, Fitra Arasih, Muhammad Torik, ya. Form of activities, for example, traditional game, football. Time start from and until, and then parents sign. This is example activities. This is warm up. Student do warm up together with his father and brother. Another, this is badminton activities. The student play badminton together with his mother. Next, this is sit-up. Sit-up activities, join with his father. Next, jogging. Jogging activities together to join with her mother. Next, play football. Yeah, play football with father. This is very interesting activities. This is cycling. Yeah, cycling activities together with his friend around for their village. This is example. Video learns from example from sit-up. Yeah, this is a video. This is a video. Lanjut. Second, utilization of traditional game. On the sport as can be applied in learning PJOK is traditional game. In Permendikbud number 57 of 2014 concerning the 2030 primary school madrasah ibtidiyah curriculum, it is clearly written that traditional sport game can be used as material in the learning process of PJOK. Traditional game are games that have passed down from generation to generation from the ancestor. It represents its own traditional game of first type. One with, for example, Cakbur, Batu Tujuh, Pak Tani, and Harimau, Angklik, Lompat Jauh, and so on. This is example. This is example traditional game, Kayang game, ya. Kayang game, the children do beside in my house. This is buaya dan ayam, ya, crocodile and chicken game. Next, evaluation of PJOK based on portfolio. Evaluation is a process of giving grade to the student based on activities that have been carried out in accordance with the learning plan that have been carried out. There are many types of evaluation carried out by PJOK teachers. Is learning consisting formative, subsummative, and summative evaluation. Formative assessment is assessment carried out after one subject. The purpose of the assessment is to see the extent of student mastery of the subject matter that has been studied. A student is successful in formative assessment if the student gets score 75. On the other hand, as feedback on the learning process that has been done by teachers, among others, project assessment, performance assessment, and portfolio assessment. Portfolio assessment is collection of documents containing the assessment learning achievement award and work the student in certain fields that are reflective, attractive, and certain. Portfolio assessment can be in the form of traditional video game made by students. Example, kayak traditional game, making tasks as cognitive domain tasks. Students are asked to make the task explaining the traditional kayak. Psychomotor domain, the teacher can pay attention to the videos made, such as the skill of students throwing stone accuracy and the opponent's stone placed on the lane of the play, hand coordination, the skill of throwing stones that are placed on the feet that are thrown, and the opponent's stone which is placed on the lane of play, hand-eye coordination, the flexibility of body when throwing stone in laughing manners. Affection domain, teacher can see in the video whether student are active or passive player, can cooperate with the other friend, help the game, the spirit of competition, high motivation. This can be used in the form of attitude that are available in the 2000 shortened curriculum in the form a qualitative assessment. That's thank you very much for attention. I have one pantun. Pak Taufik membuat kopiah. Kopiah dijahit beludu yang utuh. Wabil taufik wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much for the nice pantun. That was the presentation by Professor Dr. Gusril MPD. Now we are going to the next section, which is discussion. So if you have a question to our speakers today, except for Dr. Haji Zainuddin Amadi SE MSI, please type your question in this chat box or comment on YouTube live streaming. And right now we already have had some question. Maybe some of the committee can start sharing so that we can see the question.
Wait. Okay.
Okay, we have a question right now. The first question is to Professor Waidongdi. The first question from Dr. Khairuddin, MCAS IFO. The question is how to make model of learning process of physical education practice in primary school by teacher during the COVID-19 period in America. Professor Waidongdi, could you please answer this question?
Sure. Can I ask for a clarification? What do we mean model of learning process? Can Dr. Kes give me a little clarification?
Apa pertanyaan? Sini pertanyaan apa tuh tadi?
Enggak kurang kok mampu.
Jadi pertanyaan apa sih?
Maybe the meaning.
The meaning of model of learning process.
Yeah, how we conduct the learning process in the class.
You mean teaching?
Yeah, the teaching style.
Okay. I think because the unique situation of COVID-19, I think it's in my responses, I'm talking about we have to use technology. And also Dr. Goose, I cannot remember right now.
Still.
Yeah, give a lot of examples, talk about using video, recording student exercise. Teachers can record himself or herself and to perform the exercise and give all the instruction demonstrations, and a student will learn from the video, and they can record their performance sent to teachers. They also can do on-site teaching using Zoom. It's completely different from traditional ways with teaching physical education. Lack of immediate feedback and also in-person interactions. But we have to do what we can in this situation. And the second one is talk about there are so many apps, networking, assign students into different groups and teams, have them to do a little competitions. So those one are some ways we can do.
Okay, thank you very much for the answer. And the second question, still for you, Professor Wadongli. The second question from Professor Sayuti Shahara. The problem of sports school curriculum, there are so many sports as an obligation to be learned by the student. So what solution could you take on this gap? Should we change the curriculum, or we disagree the discipline that he or she cannot do that?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
This is, all those two questions are very important questions. I mean, the second question in the United States is different from other countries because kids from very little, they, do a lot sport activities after schools. So a lot of students, when they come to us, they already have a variety of sport experiences. So for our program, when we do admission, we require them to have at least 10 activity experiences. For example, if they play basketball on school teams for 2 seasons, or maybe they take some classes, right? If they don't meet the requirements through the 4 years program with us, they will take some extra classes to make up that content. Right, so that's very unique here. In other countries, a lot of students come to PE major without any kind of sport experience, such as in China or maybe in other countries also. So I strongly recommend to look at your curriculum and to reform, make sure they make up those experience in your curriculum, in your program, maybe the first year or second year, all but teaching those different sports. Make sure they have competence, because if you don't have competence in those different sports, you cannot teach well, right? You cannot teach well. The second one is, after they spend a year or two and learn playing all those different sports, the next semester, or maybe next year, or maybe the third year, we need to focus on less content. We talk about maybe team sport, individual sport, pick one or two. During those years, we need to focus on teach them how to teach basketball, how to teach tennis, because that's the knowledge they need to know to be able to teach, right? And there are so many content to cover. In my response, I also mentioned about anatomy, physiology. PE teachers don't need to know a lot in those areas to be able to teach physical education. So in our curriculum, we don't offer those courses anymore. We offer fitness and wellness course. In this course, we will cover some very practical knowledge about muscles, about your body. And so those knowledge are very meaningful, practical for teachers, because that's the knowledge that will teach to students. So we need to really ask ourselves a hard question: what knowledge that our student need to become to develop a healthy, physically active lifestyle, or maybe also to develop game competence, or maybe whatever the goals you want student to achieve in your physical education class. That will drive what knowledge we as higher education, faculty members, what knowledge we should provide to our previous teachers.
That's all?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you for the great explanation from Professor Wang Dodi. We also have another question. The question is to Professor Muhammad Anizu. The third question from Endang Septadinus. The question is how to build the strategy to make the effective sport event and sport for recreation to increase the economic, and how many possible the media give impact for the sport tourism in pandemic COVID-19. How many impact the pandemic 19 to MotoGP and Formula One, even in Malaysia?
Okay, thank you very much for the good question from Endan Septadinus. Okay, the first question, the first part of the question is the strategy to make the effective sport event a sport for recreation to increase economy. Of course, I think all parties in our countries need to play their roles and responsibility. For example, in Malaysia, we have a Ministry of Sport and Youth, Ministry of Tourism. So that means all parties, especially our government, including Indonesia, I think our government need to give a full support to our, to any sport organization to organize international sport event. So I mean, for example, like I showed just now, I gave a lot of sport events organized by Malaysia, of course, supported by our government. So that means government need to play their roles to help our international sport organization to organize any international sport event. So that means by organizing this international sport event, of course we can increase our economic growth. And then the second part is how many possible the media give impact for the sport tourism in pandemic. Yes, of course. Because now, unfortunately, we couldn't do anything during the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, we have to stop all the international sport events. And then now, for example, in Malaysia, all media focus upon the local sport tournament only, because we don't have any. I mean, we couldn't organize any international sport event. So how many impact in the pandemic to that? Of course, for the GP, Formula One, of course, they are very bad distraction to this event. Of course, government, for example, for the Formula One starting last year, we have to stop this event. But for the MotoGP, it's also, I mean, for the local event only, local event only. I mean, for the local MotoGP and not open to the international tournament. So I mean, COVID-19 pandemic, of course, affected all parties in our countries. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Muhammad Anizu, for the explanation. Next question to Professor Gusril, MPD. The question is how to control the frequency, intensity, duration, timing for PE on student at home. Professor Gusril.
Moderator.
Yes.
Give a chance for me to answer this question. As we know, pandemic COVID-19, I think that situation and conditions not advantages for the people. How to control the frequency? I know that the first control, I think, utilization of the form of student daily physical activities. Yes. Every day, parents give report to the physical educators. Okay, I think it's very difficult to control about intensity, because sometimes the parent don't have knowledge about sport. I think sometimes the parent don't like to do sport. It's very difficult because the parent don't understand about intensity, duration, and timing. Because in this form of student daily physical activities and sport, this is one control for the physical educators and Padang City Education Office, to control. But especially it's very difficult to control intensity, duration, and timing. This is disadvantages for physical educators because not advantages our situation. It's very important for the student. Every day, student do sport, do physical activities together with his parent and his brother. Parent and a brother, that is agent of socialization. Okay, I think that's all what I can to this question. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you very much, Professor Gusril, for the clear explanation. That is all of the questions that we have. As a conclusion, the importance of technology used by the PE teacher in school should be learned by all of the teacher. And then a teacher also need to be able to use some application so that all of the students can engage in the instructional process in the school. And then sport tourism is really important because it can improve the economic of our country, especially for Indonesia, so that the government should support this event. That's all the presentation section. Thank you for your attention, and I give it back to the MC. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of keynote sessions. Thank you for all the keynote speakers for delivering such important materials so that all of us can deepen our knowledge about sport science, physical education, health, and tourism. Ladies and gentlemen, before entering the parallel session, a committee would like to explain several things. Please welcome Mr. Anton.
Baik, terima kasih Miss Ana. Yang kami hormati Bapak Ibu Panitia, Bapak Ibu Pimpinan Fakultas Lingkungan Universitas Negeri Padang. Mohon izin kami menyampaikan kepada para peserta tentang teknis pelaksanaan parallel session. Baiklah, yang kami sampaikan pertama bahwa pemakalah yang terdaftar pada parallel session ini berjumlah 54 orang yang terdiri dari dosen, kemudian praktisi olahraga, dan para mahasiswa program pasca sarjana. Kemudian dari 54 orang ini, panitia membagi menjadi 4 room. 4 room. Untuk itu, setelah sesi ini, maka kita akan langsung dibantu panitia akan mengirimkan link Zoom yang berbeda dari link Zoom yang ini. Jadi di chat box dan di YouTube nanti akan diberikan link Zoom
Dear keynote speakers, thank you for your important speech. We will continue with the parallel session, and all the keynote speakers may leave this conference. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Lanjut, Ana. Ya. Mohon maaf, tadi gangguan jaringan. Kami ulangi Bapak Ibu. Setelah ini kami akan memberikan link Zoom baru. Untuk itu kami harapkan kepada para peserta, Bapak Ibu peserta untuk dapat bergabung di link tersebut. Kemudian khusus untuk pemakalah, karena sudah dibagi di dalam grup WhatsApp, Bapak Ibu yang sudah dibagi menjadi 4 room, mohon untuk merename nama di Zoom itu dengan kode room masing-masing. Misal, room 1 Prof. Bahfirman. Nah, seperti itu. Nanti panitia akan membaginya ke dalam room tersebut. Karena memang ada penyesuaian waktu, dijadwalkan memang kita akan memulai parallel session ini jam 1, tapi karena ada waktu yang lumayan cukup, kita mulai saja, dan masing-masing room nanti akan dipandu oleh satu moderator. Setelah itu, setelah sesi ini berakhir, kita langsung saja ke acara penutupan. Demikian saja teknis pelaksanaan parallel session ini. Mudah-mudahan Bapak Ibu peserta semua dapat bergabung, serta para pemakalah dapat menampilkan semua makalahnya di dalam room masing-masing. Demikian saja, saya akhiri.
Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Sudah Pak, betul capek kan? Biar ada dirinya dulu.